Hello guys, I am Chief Engineer Sunil Chauhan and we have come up with the course for the MEO Class 1 preparation. So MEO Class 1 course that we have for the MEO Class 1 exam includes conventions, codes and then various other varied topics. So we will start with the conventions first. So let's go to the first convention that we can do and is one of the most important convention, which is our Civil Liability Convention or CLC 69. So as from the topic we can understand civil liability means other than the criminal liability. So what all things are being covered in this one, so we'll study this one in detail. So first thing, we had a CLC in 69 and then as per the requirement. So first we had a convention in 1969 and then it was replaced, or we can say updated, by a protocol in 1992. So what is this convention all about? So it is an international convention. As we can see, it is an international convention. It is an IMO instrument, International Convention on Civil Liability for Oil Pollution Damage. So the main target area that was being covered by this convention was the oil pollution damage. And what was the trigger incident? We must have heard of this ship called Tory Canyon. So it was at the coast of UK and France, and then it did some oil pollution, and then before that there was no other way to how to get the compensation and all. So this convention's the trigger moment was the oil pollution from the Tory Canyon ship. Then about this convention was now this is a standard format how we will proceed in all of these conventions. We will see when it was adopted, that means when this idea was adopted by the IMO for developing a convention, and then subsequently the convention was developed, and then the states could be a signatory to it one. So it was adopted in November 1969 after the Tory Canyon incident. However, enter into force was only by June 1975. So we can see almost 6 years here. So it took 6 years for the contracting parties to sign this document and then make it applicable all around the world. However, this convention of 1969 CLC was replaced by the 1992 protocol. So we will also study about the protocol, what were the changes that we got into this protocol. So let's move ahead. So what was the need? So first question that naturally arises, what was the need for this convention? First, to ensure that the adequate compensation for the persons, entities who are affected by the or who suffer due to the oil pollution damage. So first thing that we need to note is that this convention is covering only the oil pollution and its related damages, and who are to be compensated? The person and the entities. So let's take an example that this is the coast of India and one oil tanker comes and is aground here or did some pollution, and this whole oil is seeping or spread across all this eastern coast of India. So now what is the main profession of the coastal people, if we can talk about in our states like Kerala or for that matter Karnataka or even Maharashtra and all those. So fishing is our fishing is their main profession or livelihood, we can say. So what happens to the fishing when the oil is there? So you cannot do fishing. So how are they going to survive? So these are the persons that are affected because of the oil pollution. Entities may be we have Bombay High, or we have any other like Cochin Shipyard, we can say. So other ships cannot enter till this oil is there. So the business of all these entities who are affected because of this oil pollution will get affected. So they need to be compensated for their loss. Not just this, even the tourists, where do we go? We go to Kerala and we go to Goa or we go to Bombay. So this tourism and all are affected. So the stakeholders for the tourism, they also need to be compensated for that matter. Now So as we have said, we have to compensate the person or entities. We have to compensate the person or the entities which have been damaged resulting from the maritime casualties involving oil carrying ships, so oil tankers mainly. Then what was the need? Again, what was the need? See, this is for the Civil Liability Convention, right? So to limit the amount of compensation, suppose now there was a pollution at the coast of Kerala, suppose, and then government of India, if it is free and if it is not bound this convention or any other convention, that it can ask any amount of money, like as we can see in the case of Exxon Valdez, right? I don't remember the spelling of the ship, but we know this case in US. So much penalty was fined on this ship that this whole company was kind of bankrupt. And also we recall that there was a incident involving BP. This was BP refinery in the Gulf of Mexico, where there was some oil pollution, and then BP had to pay heavy amount. So how much money you should reasonably extract from the polluter? So that limit is also being set by this convention, right, on the ship owner. Then what will happen if excessive or unlimited levy? Suppose the country wants to, they take into account the cleanup and the compensation for the fishermen and so on and so forth. And if they limit, if they levy like unlimited, it can disincentivize. Not only it will make this particular owner a bankrupt, but the other owners who are plying their ships into any part of the world, they will be disincentivized. Not only the ship owners, but the entire ship owners, as we can see. With if I see one of the ship owner being punished, then I'm scared that even I may be punished if something goes wrong. So to limit the amount of compensation, so there was the need for this convention, right? Now, who all are exempted from compensation? Who would not be paying the compensation? So mostly all tanker ships, right? Any ship which does a pollution, tanker ship mainly, are exempted if it can meet certain condition. That is, that the pollution occurred as a result of war in which it has got no control. That means there was a war going on and that ship was hit deliberately or accidentally. So and pollution occurred because of that. So it is not liable to pay the compensation in that case. Then someone other than the ship owner and his crew, that means even suppose the ship's crew that we are talking about, master and his crew, or the ship owner or the operator, somebody did the pollution deliberately, right? So other than the ship owner, suppose second engineer, he just was envy with the chief engineer and he threw some oil overboard. So whether the ship owner will be liable to pay? No. So in this case, somebody has done it deliberately, so the ship owner is not liable to pay for the compensation. Then accident happened due to the non-fitment of navigational lights. Suppose we are entering a channel and there was some navigational error because of the non-availability of the navigational lights, and the ship ran aground and oil pollution happened. So in that case also the ship owner can deny, but he has to prove that certain navigation lights which were supposed to be there were not there. So they will not pay in that case. Then all ship owners, right? Here we were talking about a tanker ship, and here all ship owners operated by the government of the contracting party. So what is a contracting party? First we understand this one. Contracting parties are the member states, or we can say countries, that are party to the convention. So all the ships operated by the government of such country for non-commercial use, right? For non-commercial purposes. For example, hydrographic survey, search and rescue, if they are doing, like Indian ships do search and rescue. So if accident happen and some oil pollution happened during that time, so they are not liable to pay for the compensation. Now all ships which are naval ships etc. of a contracting government, not just naval ships, even the survey ships and all. So any of the ships which are owned by the contracting government, they will not be liable to pay for the compensation. Here we can say that suppose I am the owner, I am an individual, and the government has leased my ship for certain period of time, and during that time the oil pollution happen. So not just me, I mean I will be exonerated because my ship is being taken by a contracting government for its purpose, right? So now the most important question is, which oil is the core for this convention? Basically, which oil we are talking about that will be covered, oil, the pollution of which oil will be covered by this convention. So here is one term that is called persistent oil. Persistent, in layman term we can say that which can form a film over the water body, and which is of persistent nature. That means it will take long time for it to degrade, or we can say get cleaned up by its own natural process. So we have to actively clean that oil. So that kind of oil is called persistent oil. An example, as we can see, bunker oil, that is our HFO, then crude oil, and then whale oil as per the convention, lube oils if we are carrying in any of the cargo tanks, or bunker only. So these oil are covered in the convention. That means pollution of either of these oil will be covered by the convention. Now we see bunker oil in bunker tanks of non-tanker vessel. Mostly, as we said, this convention, when it came in 1969, it covered only the oil tankers. So we will discuss the difference between this convention and the protocol of 92. So what happened that time, they covered the mostly the tanker ships, those who were carrying the oil. But that also bunker oil in the bunker tanks, right? So now what happens, even the non-tankers will be having some bunker oil in their bunker tanks. So what happens if the pollution happens? So CLC 69 was silent on that one, right? Is not covered under the convention, right? This was later on, although it was later on in 92, and then in bunker convention it was covered. Further, diesel oil, even though it is a what do you call, petroleum product, gas oil etc., is not covered under the convention as per the definition of persistent oil. Why? Because diesel oil after some time will evaporate, even the gas oil will evaporate, and it will not leave anything on the ground. I mean, degradation is faster. So that was the reason that they did not cover this in the CLC convention, right? Next, later on, however, this was covered in the bunker convention. Now the next question come, what was proposed to cover for the compensation? That means how a party or ship owner will pay for the compensation. So what happened is, all tanker vessels which were carrying persistent oil, as we have already seen, persistent oil is the qualifying oil, greater than or equal to 2000 tons. So in CLC 69, the 2000 ton limit was there. That means if you are carrying 1999, then you are like kind of exonerated from this offense. But if you are carrying 2000 or plus in its cargo tank, of course this condition should be met, or bunker tanks. So this one is for the oil tankers. To mandatorily carry a certificate of financial security, okay, which is a nothing but an insurance, which should be endorsed by the flag state. That means flag state will endorse the certificate of insurance, that yes, I know that this particular owner has got the certificate of insurance, which will be used when a tanker oil of 2000 tons or more does some pollution, and in that case, so money will come from there. So the contracting party, suppose I am India and some other country ship is coming to, so I am safe that okay, even if this ship does some pollution, so it has got a certificate of financial responsibility and it will be able to compensate the damages. Although I don't want the pollution to happen in the first place, but the even bad will be that pollution also happened and that ship cannot pay me the money. So that will be further aggravated. So in that certificate, so we call it COFR, Certificate of Financial Responsibility. So if I have that, then I have some peace of mind, right? Now, vessel carrying less than 200 tons, right? in its cargo tanks or bunker tanks are not required to carry COF. So they don't need to have a certificate of financial security, but the liability is still there. That means even if you are less than 2000 ton, I mean you are carrying less than 2000 tons of cargo, persistent oil cargo, and you do some pollution, so you may not need to carry this all the time on the ship, but still the liability will remain. That means you will still have to pay for the compensation, as will be described later on, that how much will the compensation be. Then vessels operated by contracting government for commercial purposes. See, when we studied the exemption, they were for non-commercial, right? So non-commercial, even if doing pollution, they are not they are not liable to pay for the compensation. But if the government are running some ships, like we have SCI ships, so they are running on commercial purpose. So if they are doing some pollution, then even if it is more than 2000 tons, they don't need to have that certificate per se, but still the liability will remain as it was for the 2000 ton and less oil tankers, right? Need not carry the COFS. However, they will still need to carry a certificate. And what is that certificate? Issued by appropriate authority, stating that the ship's liability under the convention is covered. That means some sort of assurance that if that ship does some pollution, then there is some kind of a backup who will pay for that. So they don't need to have an insurance cover or a certificate, but they will need a certificate issued by the competent authority or appropriate authority. So in India's case, so DG Shipping, right? So for Indian flagged ships, so DG Shipping will issue a certificate to each of the ships that their liability under the CLC is covered, and they will show how it is covered, right? Now, when is the convention not applicable? So as we can see, these are the kind of a drawbacks of 1969 CLC. What was it? That tankers on ballast voyage. That means ballast voyage, normally we don't have anything in the cargo tank, but what about the bunker tanks? So my ship is on the ballast and I am a tanker and I hit some other ship, okay, and my bunker tank leaks. So under CLC 69, they don't say anything about it. So when is the convention not applicable? In this case, when I am on ballast and cargo bunker oil leaks. Then bunker spills other than the tanker ships, right? So other than the tanker ships, that means any other cargo ships, as we have said, this was not covered. So bunker spills of the non-tanker ships was anyways not covered under the CLC. So this is it for the CLC. So let's move to the protocol.